We are all going to need a stove and fuel combination that is safe to use indoors during an SHTF event and its grid down aftermath. But which one could it be? Which one should it be? Could it be the Vesta stove? We're going to be looking at the Vesta stove. To see if it will be a good choice for a primary or secondary option for your grid down kitchen. The Vesta stove has a bonus. It's an off-grid indoor space heater, as well as being a stove that you can cook and fry on. Be sure that you got a copy of the checklist as we go through this lesson. This checklist is one of the resources from this online class that's soon to be released that goes over how to convert a modern grid-powered kitchen into what will become the everyday modern grid-down kitchen. It will help you get prepared to make that transition quickly and easily. So the first thing on the list is it non-electric? And the Vesta stove, not electric. Second on the list, does it release dangerous amounts of carbon monoxide? I will be measuring the carbon monoxide as we go through the process of cooking and frying. I have not measured any carbon monoxide so far, and the fuel has been burning for between 30 and 60 minutes. Is it portable? It weighs in somewhere in the neighborhood 5, 6, 7 pounds. It's easy to transport, that is, when it's in its box, and I've had this one in and out of this box many times. It does not come with a carrying case, but overall it's portable and easily transportable. Next, is it easy to set up and take down? So now let's set it up and see how easy or difficult that it is. This is actually the top or the heater portion if you were using it as a heater. For cooking indoors, this is the part we're interested in. Inside is the grill. Pull out the snuffer. Inside the stove is a tray in which you put the fuel on. Snuffer. On the tray, 1, 2, 3. So you have the capability of using 3 sterno fuels at the same time. So to finish the setting up process, will be to put our fuel in. We'll talk about the fuel in a moment. And it's set up, ready to use. The only thing remaining is to start the fuel. So it is easy to set up, and taking down would be the whole process in reverse after it has cooled off after you cook with it. Is it easy to clean? The grill is easy to work with. This is easy to work with. There's no hidden compartments. So it is easy to clean. Easy to set up, easy to take down, easy to clean. Next, does it overheat the countertops? I will give you the temperature of where we're going to use it, and then I'll give you the temperature when we're finished. So right now the temperature is 72 degrees on the surface. The temperature where the stove was sitting in the upper 90s, and since the stove has been moved, it was probably a little over 100. So unless you had a surface like I do to cook on, which is the top of an actual stove, you would probably want some kind of a barrier between the Vesta stove and just a simple countertop in your kitchen. Much safer to do that. Is the heat easily adjustable? When it comes to adjusting the heat, your adjustment is to use 1, 2, or all 3 fuel containers. Other than that, you can't adjust it. There's no knobs or dials to adjust the heat. So it is somewhat adjustable, but not as much as some of the other stoves. Is the fuel readily available? The fuel that we're using is from Sam's Club. It's a 6-hour burn time chafing fuel. There's several very similar products on the market. They are very easy to find, readily available. is the fuel safe to store? Easy to store, safe to store, they don't take up a lot of space, and again can be stored indoors, do not have to be stored outdoors. Next is the fuel easy to use. It's ready to go. You want to put it out, you have the snuffer. So the fuel is easy to use, readily available. And last, but certainly not least, will the stove do the things you want or need it to do, such as heating canned foods, boiling water so that you can do all the things that you would do with hot and or boiled water. Can you fry on it? For some of us, a really important thing, can you make or brew coffee? Test 1, heating canned food. We're going to be using 3 fuel canisters for everything that we do, but you could use 2 or you could use 1. We're going to heat some Skitos and beef. For a smaller kettle of that size, it would not be necessary to use all 3 of the fuel canisters. And with using a kettle of this size for an individual serving size can of food, you could use a second kettle on this stove, heat 2 cans of food at the same time. At about the 6-minute mark, I started this about a minute after I put the SpaghettiOs on. And our temperature is already up to 160 and climbing, so that is hot enough. So with a canned, ready-to-eat food right out of the can without heating it to 140 to 160 degrees in 5 to 7 minutes, that is more than hot enough such that you'd have to let it cool before you eat it. So test 1, heating canned food. The Vesta stove passed the flying colors. Now test 2, we're going to see if the Vesta stove will boil water so that you can make freeze-dried meals or some of the Knorr type product meals, in which you could also add in your favorite canned meat. This one requires 2 cups of water, this one 1 3/4 cups of water. So first we're going to try to boil 2 cups of water. So at the 20-minute mark, it is boiling. It's not as hard a rolling boil as we can get from the butane or the propane stoves. So the Vesta stove, when it comes to cooking meals for 1 or 2 servings or 1 or 2 people, it's going to work as far as freeze-dried meals, the Knorr type products. If you're going to be cooking for more than 2 people, where you're going to have more than 16 or 20 ounces of water or liquid or soup or stew, if you're only going to heat it, it will work over time. If you're going to be trying to fix meals where you're going to be boiling large amounts of things, you might want to go with the butane or the propane stove. Test number 2 was a success, but we about reached the limit on the amount of water or liquid that you could boil in a reasonable amount of time. So now, let's see if we can percolate some coffee. And again, I do use a filter when I percolate coffee if I have the filter available. It is getting ready to start percolating, but it hasn't quite got there yet. So it has started to percolate. And of course your coffee, the longer you let it percolate, stronger and more bitter it's going to taste. So the Vesta stove passed the coffee test. It percolated coffee. The next test will be frying. We're going to try to fry a couple of eggs. And so the Vesta stove does really well when it comes to frying the eggs. Snuffer has a little lip on it. The handles are not as hot as you might think. The actual stove is, so you have to be very careful. Pull the tray out. To see if it will be a good choice for a primary or secondary option for your grid down kitchen. Overall, the Vesta seems to be a good choice for a secondary stove and potentially a primary stove depending upon how many people, what type of food you actually have to heat or cook. So is it a primary or a secondary stove? For me, it's secondary. For you, you gotta figure that out.